been around since 2001, developed by Brendan himself, so it is massive over in North America. We've only been in the UK for a couple of years. So it's a range of premium plant-based protein and nutritional powders, all vegan, gluten-free, and all from a multi-source blend. So really intended to support whatever your wellness goals, and if that's more fitness focused, help to refuel. If it's more of a holistic approach, just general nutrition in the morning. So I will let Brendan chat a bit more about that in a bit. But I guess to begin, it would be great if you both told us a little bit of background to yourself, how you got to where you are. So Brendan, do you want to kind of start with how you came to be an athlete and develop Vega?
Sure, yeah. Well, thanks, Bethan. I started off just like a lot of people, just running track in high school, really liked it, wanted to get better at it, wanted to ultimately turn it into a profession and be a professional athlete. And I found being a track athlete was really hard to do that. So I started doing triathlon, so adding swimming, cycling, which is actually, it may not sound it, but it's actually easier to do that as a profession. There's, I guess, fewer people do it. It was something that I really wanted to do, not because I'm very competitive by nature, but I just like swimming, biking, running, so it seemed to work out. And I was competitive with myself in the sense that I just wanted to get better all the time. And I looked at what the top athletes were doing, the Ironman triathletes who are professional. And Ironman triathlon, for those of you who don't know, it's 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and a marathon, so 26.2 miles. So obviously a really long event that if you want to get better at, you have to train a lot. It's really just about volume. And that's sort of what got me into nutrition, is I realized that when I was eating better, my inflammation went down more quickly from the previous day's training. I could do more training in less time, which meant I could move faster in less time, and gave myself a better opportunity to be a professional athlete. So that's what got me into trying different foods and eating different ways, and that's what eventually led to me blending things together and having a blender drink, and then that becoming Vega and launching that in North America back about 15 years ago now. So that's how it started.
Quite a journey then to develop. Yeah. What about you, Rhian?
Yeah, so I came to plant-based nutrition through health. So my journey started when I was about 8. I was a very sickly kid, so I always had sinus infections, problems with my ear, I had migraines. I was on probably medication every second month. So my mom took me to loads of physicians, and nobody could find a pathological cause of what was making me so ill. So by the time I was about 10, they just stopped trying to search, and they said that was just my constitution, and I was a bit weak, which sucked. So then, fast forward to age 11, I started to swim. I made the national circuit quite fast, but I found it very challenging. So all of the problems I already had with health, they just got compounded with the amount of training I was putting my body through. When I was 18, it was a really big year for me for swimming, and my mom, she decided to take me to a new physician she had heard of who was really into complementary health. And they thankfully found out that I had an allergy to casein. So casein is the protein found in milk. And that was pretty transformative for me. So within 1 year of changing how I ate, I started to wake up with energy. I didn't get sick. I didn't have to take any medications. My headaches went, my skin got better. And most importantly for me as an 18-year-old who was obsessed with swimming, without any real change to the structure of how I trained, I went from being 28th in Canada to 2nd. So for me, that just catapulted me into the world of health and nutrition. I then went to university and did sciences. I then did a master's in clinical nutrition and then became a naturopath. And it kind of started me on the journey of trying to help people be healthier and happier through the transformative power of movement and food. So that's kind of how Psycle was born and my passion for health began. Yeah.
So you both kind of come on a journey from early on into plant-based, and then it's going to help your performance, I guess. But it's more recently, I guess, we've seen plant-based is really getting a lot bigger. It's becoming a bigger trend, and everyone's starting to see the benefits of it more. I guess why do you think that is? Do you think there's a certain reason it's suddenly come to the forefront, or is it general health reasons people are starting to realise?
So I think there's a number of factors that have contributed. So one is that you know, the dialogue around health and nutrition 10 years ago was really about weight, right? So people wanted to lose weight. They didn't really focus on the benefits on your mind, the benefits on your future health. I also think with the movement towards more sustainable practices in the environment, it's very challenging to ignore all of the facts that you see about animal welfare, sustainability for the environment. So I think it's kind of a combination of people want to understand how they can be happier, be healthier, and live with more kind of health and energy, and also they want to make the choices that are positive for animal welfare, but also for sustainability. Yeah. That's kind of my view.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just an overall consciousness shift and just this awareness, and also, of course, the whole millennial generation is very very mindful around production of food. I find too, and just wanting to know where the food comes from and who is involved, and when you buy this food, what system are you voting for, essentially, and are you okay with the way the system is? And if you're not, you know, obviously you should be buying food that's produced that way. So I think that shift and that real desire for transparency as well. They just want this transparency. And I think environment, of course, too, because you know, a lot of studies have come out in the last few years about just, you know, the extreme inefficiency of our current food system, and land, water, fossil fuel. You know, it's pretty inefficient the way it's done. So just really from a very practical standpoint. But then, people just want to feel good, and then if they try it and they notice some benefits, and they're going to stick with it and just keep doing it. So I think it's a combination as well.
And I guess when we look at it in terms of fitness, because you also know the benefits of plant-based for general health. It's obviously got less saturated fat, more vitamins and minerals in there. But then when it comes to fitness, I guess there's a lot of controversy. Can you get all your proteins? Can you survive on a plant-based diet with the intensity and the frequency of your workouts? You're both proof that you can.
Yeah.
I guess for people going into that, what would be your advice, and what would you say to really look for within your diet and fitness?
Well, for me, it was really, that's how it started, was me making that blender drink. So I tried a completely plant-based diet, and not because I was aiming to be vegan at the time. I was 15 back then, but I just wanted a way of eating that would help reduce inflammation, increase range of motion, therefore efficiency, just make me a better athlete, or allow me to train more that would make me a better athlete. And I found, well, when I first did it, actually, I didn't do it that well. The joke was I'd become a starchitarian, not a vegetarian, because it was just all starchy foods I was eating, basically. And it was really, you know, a common thing back then, just to go load up on starch and not actually eat a lot of vegetables. So I started making the blender drink. So I added things that had essential fats, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, protein, multi-source protein, and then blended that all up, and didn't taste good at all, but it was functional, and it actually did work. So that's kind of how that started, and it really did make a big difference. So just packing that all in, and also just even in a smoothie form. Obviously, you don't have to work as hard to digest, and there's a big, I won't go into this too much now, but there's first chapter in my first book, I really focus on just efficiency, just looking at choosing foods that take less energy to digest and assimilate, and I call this high net gain food. So you want to spend less digestive energy and get more nutrition in. So nutrition not being calories, but being vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, antioxidants. So less energy out, more nutrition in is kind of the base, and then you can kind of start to build from there.
So I've always liked how Brendan talked about the first ever Vega tasted awful, but people found the benefits from it. They were using it, and although it didn't taste as good then, it does now. Like to point out.
It's come a long way.
So we're 15 years, so we've optimised it all. But people still bought into it, and it grew, even though it didn't taste good. So the benefits there. I guess, Rhian, again, similar. What in terms of fitness would you say people should focus towards?
Oh yes, I found the same kind of thing when I switched to being more plant-based. I became a salad fiend, and so all I ate was fruit and salad, and then I was exhausted. And I think what people need to really take on board is it's not very challenging to be healthy as long as you look at what you need. And I think that it's easy sometimes to just go for the salad or the white pasta, but actually it's just as easy to be an unhealthy meat eater as it is to be an unhealthy plant-based eater. So I I just did my research. It helped that I obviously did a degree in nutrition, so I focused more on getting your protein from lentils, from pulses. You know, one of my favorite plant-based facts is that, you know, 100 grams of yellow split peas has the same amount of your proteins as 100 grams of steak. So I really think that people think that there's not as much, but it's really, it's quite easy to get what you need. I also think there's a lot of conflicting stats on how much you actually need at one time. So many people in kind of the bodybuilding world tend to kind of go for 45 to 50 grams per session. Alistair. But actually, muscle synthesis is optimized in between 22 to 30 grams. So it's not actually that hard to get what you need. And the body can only take so much out one time. So it's really about making sure that you're complementing your whole grains, your beans, nuts, seeds, sprouts, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like blending the different sources together, isn't it? And that is a massive, I guess, misconception, is that people do put in a 50-gram shake and think, oh, great. And it's like, no. You just need a little bit at every meal, and you'll get it all throughout the day. And I guess it comes back to you don't have to, you can blend them throughout the day as well. It's not every single meal. Yeah. It's looking at what you eat generally, isn't it? So I guess before we open it up to questions, I'd love to know from you both, what would be your go-to pre- and post-workout food? Anyone wants to kick off? Throwing that on you.
Al's watching me because mine is controversial. I like to do morning cardio fasted, but if I'm doing a longer session, I always go for some porridge with some really readily available carbohydrate. Make sure I'm hydrated and my electrolytes are solid. For me, it's more important what I eat post workout than what I eat for right. When I was in competition, though, I was far more kind of regimented with how I ate leading up to it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I was very regimented when I did it full time, but now it's what I find now as well that makes quite a big difference is it's just based on the type of workout you're doing. So if you're doing a shorter, more intense workout, kind of like what we just did, more carbohydrate, simple carbohydrate, dates, something like that that's glucose that gets in your system right away, because that's what you're burning glucose. Whereas if you do a longer hike, bike ride, longer run, you're going to be burning more fat and less carbohydrate. So you actually don't have to take in a lot of carbs because you're burning quite a lot of stored fat. And if you don't have glycogen in your muscles, what you eat right before is not going to make a big difference. So I really base it on that. Before a workout like this, just a few dates and nuts and seeds. I actually didn't have any with me this time, so I did it fasted today as well. So that can work too. But I think for shorter workouts, you don't need as much, obviously, than the longer, lower intense ones. Then you can have a little more. I think it as well, like oatmeal with a little bit of the clean protein in there. Some nuts and seeds. It's pretty good.
So I'll open up to questions. Anybody got anything they want to ask Brendan or Rhian?
I've got a question.
Fire away.
When I first saw the amount of ingredients in the shake on the back, like when you go into a supermarket, you look for like the smallest amount of ingredients and anything you don't really want it to be more pure to the food itself. Can you, I love the products I'm sold by it, but I just want to know if I'm talking to somebody why there's so many ingredients, if there's the pea protein and so many other proteins, does it need that many? Or is it to try and sell to people how many amazing things are in it? Why are there so many ingredients?
So, I guess in terms of the proteins, it's making sure it's a multi-source blend. So rather than a singular pea protein, you've got different ones in there, so you get a complete amino acid profile. The peas low in some amino acids, hence high. They complement each other. And then I always, because you're right, people look at something and go, there's loads of ingredients, that's bad for me. But I always say to them, do you understand what every ingredient in that product is? If you know what every ingredient is, then it's going to be okay. It's not synthetic, so that's what I try to say to people, particularly around Vega Essentials, because it's got all different fruits and veg. But really that is very much, I mean, Brendan, you can probably chip in here as well, but around Vega, everything should be something that the person understands. It's not a synthetic form of everything. So with the vitamins, we have to have all the different types of fruits and veg to get then the levels of vitamins in there.
Amazing. Thanks.
Hopefully that'll...
I do want to tell people about it, and when you just see a big list of things, it's like, I'll take away the words, complement each other, and not synthetic. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Are there any plans to bring any of the other products that you currently sell in the States over to the UK? Like bars?
The hydrator powder is one of my favorites. The hydrator powder. It's super good.
I literally filled my suitcase.
Did you?
I'm not going to lie.
When are they coming?
There may be plans. It's watch this space and see what's coming up.
No pressure.
I'm making no promises, but watch this space.
Cool.
Yeah.
Brendan, when you first started this, was it 15 years ago? I presume that when you first started it was, did you get sort of labelled as like an alternative or what you call like a hippie branded a vegan? And then I just wondered how you navigated that to bring it into what is now like the mainstream. Obviously things have helped externally, but when you first started, how did you try and get people to see your way of thinking?
Yeah, it was a long process for sure. Well, when it first came out, it was 75 Canadian dollars, so about 60 US, for 15 servings, which is very expensive. It didn't taste good. The consistency wasn't good. It settled, and you really had to buy it twice to notice a difference. Like you had to go through, because there's only basically a 2-week serving in one of those bottles, so it took about a month usually to feel the difference. So that was our biggest challenge, was really having people. We did a lot of demos, and I would go around and give talks in places like Whole Foods, and I'd written a book, so I would speak about the book, and then the general nutritional philosophy. People would try it, and then if they did, they kept buying it. So the people who actually took a chance were repeat customers, and that was big. It was just very grassroots. It was very benefit based as well, because we weren't trying to say to people, you need to be vegan or anything like that. Just saying, like, here are some of the benefits. This has really helped me. See how you feel. And then I talk a lot about like reducing cortisol, for example. So I talk about maca that's in there that really helped me a lot. So when cortisol is lower, you sleep more deeply, you wake up, you're fresh, you're rested, you don't crave caffeine, you don't crave sugar, and you've treated the cause of the fatigue and not the symptom. Just overstimulation, drinking a lot of caffeine and things. Not that that's necessarily bad. Like, I don't really believe in good and bad, and I talk about that in the book. It's just like different things for different reasons, but it just resonated with people, and they got it. They thought, yeah, this is kind of a holistic way. This makes sense. It's not a quick fix, more of a lifestyle. And then if they really thought that made sense and they tried it and it worked, then they started noticing those things. They look better. Their skin cleared up. Even their eyes a lot of the time cleared up, and people would start commenting. Then they would talk about it and say, "Oh, I've been drinking this new thing called Vega." And it just kind of grew that way. It's a very slow way to do it, but that's what got it going. It was quite a while ago, and it wasn't until really just the last few years that it really kind of went. It took a good 7 or 8 years for it to really catch. So yeah, it was a long process, but that's how it was. Just really just getting people to try it, and then just went from there.
I think that's the key with a lot of things with health, right? It's you need to try things to see how it works for you. When I started to use Vega, because my performance improved so much, then my teammates were like, "What is she on?" Because we used to be sponsored by, I forget this, it was a horrible carton of like yogurt, milk, and whey, and we would chug it after we trained. And so with me, I was literally poisoning my body because of my allergy. So my team saw the functional benefits that I had, and they switched. And I think that when you want to just see how you feel, what works best for you, for your goals, it's quite simple to see what works well for you and what you should have. Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much. Hopefully that was interesting for everybody. Feel free to come on up and ask any questions. I'm sure we'll be happy to answer one as well. But thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And thanks to Kevin and Anya for the workout. This is awesome.